Joe was with him, that's all I'm saying.
We are expecting Chief Keenan to be here momentarily. This is the Quincy Board of License Commissioners, November 14th, 2017 hearing. Before we begin, I will read the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Very good. We have a 8-item agenda with an other at the end, which is always exciting. We'll hold that to the end, okay? Here's Chief Keenan. Don't let us keep you, Chief. Agenda item number 1. Hearing regarding the request of the House Neck Congregational Church for a special use permit, one-day wine and malt license for the Chili Fest on January 28th, 2018. Is anyone here? Yes, here we are. And this is not Pamela.
No.
And I know you because you're from the Boy Scout, the Cub Scouts.
Yes, Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts. And
You didn't come and race your car
I
last
did race my car.
Did you?
I did, and I lost every heat.
Oh, okay.
5. I didn't
must
make
have-
it past round 1.
Okay.
I was the Ratmobile.
Okay, the Rathmobile.
And your name is? Cause
Ralph Jacobs.
Ralph, that's right. Yeah, Ralph Jacobs. There we go. Okay. So why don't you tell us about the Chili Fest?
Okay, this is, I don't know, 7th or 8th year. We've had this, it's an annual event that the church holds, embraced by the community. We have about 20 different contestants, people who make chili, restaurants and private individuals, and people come just to enjoy the chili. It's $5, it's very reasonable. You can eat as much chili as you want. And it's a great afternoon. People meet friends they haven't seen in a year or two, and kind of like the Chowder Fest, but in the middle of the winter, and we don't get quite as many people. So,
Okay.
we have beer. You know, we don't even have the wine anymore. Just beer. I don't know if we sell 50 beers, but few people like them. You know.
I can imagine. Before I open it up to the board, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close that portion. And it is noon to 5. And board members, any questions, comments? How many people did we have last year?
I think there were between 200 and 225 people.
And do we actually crown a winner?
We do.
And who won last year?
The restaurant up in Quincy Point.
Coops?
Coops.
Coops won it last year.
The restaurant side of it for about 4 years. They have
Okay.
great, if you like chili, they have great chili.
How many years have you been doing this?
I think it's about 8 years now.
Okay. Board members, what's your pleasure?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the House Neck Congregational Church for a special use permit, one-day wine and malt license for the Chili Fest on January 28, 2018. The event will run from noon to 5 p.m., represented by Ralph Jacobs. Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the House Neck Congregational Church for a special use permit, one-day wine and malt license for their 8th annual Chili Fest on January 28th, 2018, and it's from noon to 5 p.m., represented by Mr. Ralph Jacobs. All in favor?
Aye.
Ralph,
Thank you
you're all
very
set.
much.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Agenda item number 2, hearing regarding the request of Windy City Pizza for a common vicular license for 195 Newport Ave. This is currently the Super Chef, and it is being sold, and it is represented by Mr. Mustafa Beyturk. How are you, sir?
Thank you.
You are going to be taking over Super Chef, and you're changing the name?
Correct.
Okay. And who owns Super Chef?
Juan.
Juan. That's right. Juan has been there for a long time, too.
Yeah.
You're still gonna make the big
Yeah.
pizza?
Well, we have Windy City in Dorchester right now, so
Okay.
this is gonna be the
Windy
Same
City.
thing,
same thing. Everything is gonna be the
the
same.
wings.
Great buffalo.
Oh,
Wings.
there you go.
I brought some. I forgot everything else I brought it here. I just brought some.
Okay.
It's,
Oh, look at this.
Thank
There you
you.
go. Thank you.
Yeah, they're great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, you're gonna be taking over, and I know you're looking for a 3 AM closing.
Well, I say 3 AM maybe too much, but I mean 2 AM, and then maybe if it is, from 2 AM to 3 PM, only delivery maybe, if it is. I mean, I don't wanna have anything different in the city. I mean, the way the things are running, I see, next door, I think Wendy's is open till 2. And I'd like to have the same thing, but if I can do deliveries between 2 and 3, and I really don't know how it's gonna be,
Right.
So I can try that for a time.
Okay, before I open it up to the board members, does anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close that portion. And so, Wendy's is at 2 AM?
I think so.
I believe Wendy's is 2, isn't it? So, I'm not sure how comfortable I am about deliveries from 2 to 3 with, I know you don't.
I haven't done it also, I don't know how it is, because.
How late are you open in Dorchester?
11.
11.
11. We've been, since 1989, we've been, open.
And does Dorchester want to give you till 3 AM? Have you ever tried?
Well, 20 years ago,
And they said
I
no?
applied, and then you have to go through the City Grove Civic Association first. And 21 years ago, they voted in the city. I lost with one vote, 40 to 39, and I didn't pursue it.
Okay.
It's hard to find people in Dorchester.
Well, you're only gonna get 3 out of 5 here, so it's better than 40 out of 80, right?
Yeah. But
Sure.
3 AM is not such an important thing. I mean, I'd like to have 2 AM, but I'm just saying, if I could try 2 to 3, it might not work out.
Right. Would it be like 7 days a week, 3 AM, or
No, I
just?
mean, I'd like to get it, but I would only want to use it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but I don't think there will
Right.
be enough business on the other days.
Okay. Board members, any comments? or-
Oh, I'm in early, so I can go at 3 and pick up some wings for the ride into work.
Yeah,
I have no issues.
no?
Mr. Chairman, do you have any seating there? What is your,
I think right now there is few seating, not many. I think 2 or 3 tables.
Maybe 8? Yeah.
Seating, yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 booths, right? The small,
Not even booths,
like the
small
pizza shop
tables,
booths.
small tables. It's a small seating area. Basically it's a pickup and
It's a pickup
delivery.
and delivery. How many, I know that Juan had probably 2 or 3 guys delivering during the course of the day.
No, and I don't think he's doing that well, on the delivery side, so I think we're gonna increase that by opening 2 AM, it probably increase the deliveries. Because on Dorchester, we have probably, on Friday nights, we have like about 8 drivers, so hopefully increase in Quincy too.
Now, if someone from Dorchester knows you're open till 2 AM in Quincy, you think they'll call and you'll be going to Dorchester?
I don't know. The both, I have different numbers, 471 is the Quincy number and 265 is the Dorchester number. So there's so many places right now in Dorchester, I don't think they need me.
Okay.
How long have you been in Dorchester? Since
Since like
89?
end of 89.
We had an inspector from our fire prevention office go through, you. I believe you spoke to Juan, and you have some fire extinguishers that are missing?
I think he just sent me from the old building of the owner, he just sent me an email with the report.
Okay, so that's different, so we need copies of those reports, we need to see them.
I think they are in here, they just sent me all the way in here, I think, from the building owner.
So those would need to get forwarded to our fire prevention office.
I will do that. If it needs any more work, no problem.
And you need to replace those fire extinguishers that are missing.
Yeah, because hoods are gonna be changed and it's gonna be, more installations, we're gonna have a little bit more hoods. And then of course, fire
Okay,
suppression
so you're
system and
gonna pick a
everything.
permit up for that?
Oh, yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna be all up to the codes, I know the codes change all the time. Yeah, everything's gonna be up.
As long as you're aware.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I will go in Dorchester, they come in like, I think every 3 months, they change the fire extinguishers, and then every 6 months, they change the other stuff, so it's a continuous, check.
when do you plan on opening? You're
I-
gonna be doing some work in there?
Yeah, I wanna, December, I wanna take over this month, and I'm gonna let him work till to the end of this month.
Yeah.
In December, I'm gonna close and do the change in the inside,
Okay.
and then hopefully open in the beginning of the new year.
So you're gonna call us so that we do a walkthrough before you.
Oh, of course, I'm gonna give you the plan and everything, and all.
Do you plan on gutting the inside or?
Some changes, not major
Not
changes,
major
but
changes.
because some things I have to move around and to put
Are
systems.
you gonna get any new equipment or anything else like
Yeah,
that?
of course, I'm gonna get some equipment, because
Okay.
it's not, you know.
I always like hearing that.
I don't know if I'd have a problem with the 3 AM. I'd be interested in see what the chief says about it.
Yeah, I don't see an issue where it's just delayed.
Okay.
You know, it's not coming and going, they'll be coming and going till 2, but they're coming and going right next door to Wendy's, it's a commercial area, it's on a main street, so.
Yeah, if it doesn't work out, we don't even, you know.
You have the dry cleaner or the laundromat in the back, so
Yeah.
it's not like,
There's no immediate
Yeah.
butters really, so I don't see an issue with it.
all right.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Windy City Pizza for a new common victular license for 195 Newport Ave, currently Super Chef, due to a change in ownership. Proposed hours of operation Monday through Sunday, 10 AM to 3 AM. Proposed manager is Mr. Musaffar Bayturk.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Windy City Pizza for a new common vicular license, 195 Newport Ave. Mr. Musafa, the Turk, the manager, hours of operation, 7 days a week, 10 AM to 3 AM. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, okay?
Thank you.
No, just 3 AM.
Yeah.
I'm writing that. Agenda item number 3, hearing regarding the request of American Juice Inc. DBA Tabar, 1259B Hancock Street, common vicular license. This is the old 86 degrees bubble tea, which is right across the way here. To the right. And it's been there for probably about 10 years now. So you are the gentlemen that are coming in, and you are, who is Oming?
My name is Qi Ming, Qiming.
QI.
Yeah, QI.
Hu Ming Bing,
Yes,
and you are Jonathan?
I'm Jonathan.
All right. And you're gonna be opening up a bubble tea bar from 9 AM to 11 PM.
Correct.
Okay. So, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close it. And so do you guys have any experience in the bubble tea business?
Yeah, we've been doing this for 2 years. So T-Bar is a franchise from New York.
Okay.
Yeah, we opened the other locations, one's in Brooklyn, the other one's in the South Plaza Mall.
Okay. Board members, comments, questions?
I had some questions on the patio extension.
Well, I didn't see that in here, and I was, it is here, okay, beautiful. I didn't go that far.
So that was similar to what
Yeah.
86 had.
86 had the same,
Same.
86 had the same type of patio extension. They brought it out with the,
It's Patriots Day to Columbus Day. It's-
yeah, that's what they all are,
Yeah.
Patriots Day to
Yeah.
Columbus Day. And they have to, that is actually on city property, they have to get the whole waiver and stuff on that.
Okay.
The sign-off sheets are done. My office and your office was there. Emergency contact form is in. Workman's comp.
How many seats on the patio?
67.
That's what they had before.
That's right.
And you're under construction, you're doing work on the property right now?
Yeah, we're doing some painting work and also we're gonna change the tiles of the workstation, some new tiles.
So you have to call my fire prevention office, make sure we do a walkthrough before you open?
Sure.
So in order to, that is actually city property out there, so you guys have to sign, we have a, what is it called again, Jay, that we put together for that?
Hold harmless, I think.
What?
Hold harmless.
Oh, yeah. So, and the hours, the patio is from Patriots Day to Columbus Day, and the hours out there are 11 AM to 9 PM, and it's for 6 seats and 3 tables. And that is what 86 degrees had out there, so we'll stick with that. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All of the other work is here. Any other questions, comments for the board?
Are you gonna be taking those chairs in and out every night and the tables, or are you gonna leave them out there?
We'll probably be bringing it into
That
yeah,
little
the
common
foyer,
area?
It was kind of like a chained off little
Yeah,
area.
a little thing,
And I mean, when the time comes,
just
next-
because of the traffic
yeah.
going through there.
You
Yeah. We
wanna
do
do-
it at our other shop in Brookline.
Okay.
So we bring it
you
in
bring
and out
everything
every
comes
day.
in, because everything like at the Five Guys, everything comes
Mhm.
in at the end of the night. Okay, and you're not doing any major renovations, just
Just cosmetic.
general, yeah,
Just-
cosmetic, general cleanup?
Just bubble tea, or is there
We have
other
fresh
things
juice
on
as
the
well.
menu?
Fresh juice.
Oh, yeah.
Fresh juice.
Anything else, board members? Everything looks to be in order.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of American Juice Inc., DBA T-Bar, 1259B Hancock Street for a common victualler license. The location is the former 86 Degrees Tea. T-Bar is a bubble tea bar. Proposed hours of operation Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., with a patio extension of 6 seats and 3 tables, in addition to the inside seating. Proposed managers Q-Ming Ming and Jonathan Deng.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of American Juice Inc., DBA T-Bar, 1259B Hancock Street for common vicular license. Hours of operation, Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. They also are getting an extension of the patio pending final sign-off of the agreement with the city, and that is going to be for 3 tables and 6 seats, Patriots Day and Columbus Day. Proposed managers are Q-Ming Bing and Jonathan Dang. All in favor?
Aye.
You guys are all set, okay?
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck,
If you
guys.
want to stop up and see Susan tomorrow or the next couple days, and we'll have the agreement all set, and then you can sign it. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4, hearing regarding the request of 5J's Convenience Store Inc., 622 Hancock Street, for a common vicular license, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Proposed manager, Jin Hu Lo, represented by attorney Jack Milgrom.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, honorable members. For the record, my name is Attorney Jack P. Milgram. I represent the applicant, 5J's Convenience Store Inc. 5J's Convenience Store Inc. is a Massachusetts corporation with the usual place of business, 622 Hancock Street here in Quincy. We have this afternoon our application for a common officials license. My client proposes to sell lottery products, tobacco products, food and beverages, and periodicals at this location. The hours, as Mr. Shealy has stated, will be Monday through Sunday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Maximum number of employees at one time in the store will be 2. My client currently has pending with the Department of Revenue retail license for the tobacco products. I've spoken to Mr. Shealy's office. I'm aware that there's an inspection that will have to occur after the CV license is issued. Of course, we're going to this location from a hair salon to a convenience store. A finding was acquired by the zoning board of appeals. The finding occurred in July. It's been recorded. Since that time, Mr. Duca's office has issued a permit for the work, and I believe that there was a sign-off recently in regards to that permit. We're not going to be offering any prepared foods. We're not going to be cooking anything at this location. We'll be offering coffee and tea to customers that will be coming in. We'd ask that you look favorably upon our request for the license this afternoon.
Before I open up to the board, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, it used to be the hair salon.
It was Leonardo's, which was there for many, many
Yeah.
years. That's correct. They
So
moved
convenience
to
store will be a
Quincy
lot
Center.
easier for parking in and out, where the salon probably took up spots for an hour or
Well,
so.
there's 14 legal
Yeah,
on-street
on-street
spots
parking.
in that immediate area right there.
There's the Dependable Dry Cleaners is right there, and then it's
There's a
McCarthy's
dentist's
Plumbing
office, yeah, there's
is
a
on the other
dentist's
side,
office
and the
here, so
dentist office
that's
is right
correct.
there, so. Board members, any issues, comments, questions? Looking for a motion. Oh, chief?
Just that, before you open,
We have McCarthy's.
have the applicant call fire prevention to do what?
We will. Thank you.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of 5J's Convenience Store, Inc., 622 Hancock Street for a common victual license. Proposed hours of operation Monday through Sunday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. The manager is Jin Hugh Lowe, represented by Attorney Jack Milburn.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of 5J's Convenience Store, Inc., 622 Hancock Street for common vicular license. Is it 622 or is it 620?
The address of the building is 618 to 622.
Yeah, because
We were told 622, but I'm not gonna swear to that.
Yeah, because when I went by it, it says 620, so that's just the middle, because it's in the middle of the store. 622 is fine. So motion made and seconded to grant the request of 5J's Convenience Store, Inc., 622 Hancock Street for common vicular license. Hours of operation Monday through Sunday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Proposed manager Jin Bulow. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
We're all
you.
set.
Good luck.
Agenda item number 5. Hearing regarding the request of Tootie's Fine Jewelry for a pawnbroker's license for their location on 1163 Hancock Street. Mr. Howard Jacobs. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you? I'm actually subbing in for my father, I'm Adam Jacobs.
This is Adam Jacobs, and this is for Tootie's Jewelry Store, which is right over here next to the bowling alley that's not there anymore, right, Chief?
Hasn't been for a while. It's not forgotten.
Could have been before my time.
You won't get a full look.
Before a lot of time.
Yeah. So this is Adam Jacobs from Tootie's. We have, everything is in order. And before I open it up to the board, so why don't you just tell us about what you want to do with the...
So what we're applying for the pawnbroker license is more recent, and over the past couple of years, we've always had requests of pawning specifically jewelry. So with that being said, you know, we've had our buying license for 25 plus years. Each item that we purchase, you know, say over the counter from the public, generally have to take a picture of the license, the product that we purchased, report it to the chief of police. So I'm going to be front with you. I'm not exactly positive on how the policies work with pawning when it comes down to reporting it to the police department. I'm assuming it's pretty similar. Basically, very itemized, exactly what you bought, how much you paid for it. Pawning works a little bit different.
On a daily basis, right, when you're buying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
It's
so
electronic,
anything
right?
I purchase from the public, I'd have to report to the police department. Basically exactly what I purchased, where the particular individual lives, their license ID number, phone number, all their personal information. So with that being said, not everybody always wants to sell their jewelry, they just want to loan it for some money for the time being, especially usually around like this time of year, the holiday season's coming around, so they don't want to fully part, and that's where we want to offer this particular service to our customers. I'm not going to be pawning anything like you see on TV, like microwaves, TVs, guitars. We're specifically looking to pawn jewelry, so gold, watches, anything pertaining to the jewelry business, nothing outside of that realm.
Anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close. Board members?
We can bring you up to speed on the process. Detective Coppins can pop down. You know, I know you're doing it anyway with the purchasing, but it's almost identical.
Okay, yes, that was
Be
going
an
to be
easy
a question, but
Yes, it'll be an easy transition.
great.
How long you been in business up there?
We're going on 36 years now.
Still a newcomer, huh?
Bowling alley's been gone that long.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was like 3.
Before our store was there, my grandfather had a bullion and coin stamp business.
Oh, okay.
So my dad bought the condo from him.
The fence you'd have to walk down. Good pinball machines in there, though.
It was.
Board members, I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Tootie's Fine Jewelry for pawn broker's license for their location at 1163 Hancock Street, represented by Adam Jacobs.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Tootie's Fine Jewelry for a pawnbroker's license for their location at 1163 Hancock Street. Mr. Howard Jacobs, represented by Mr. Adam Jacobs. All in favor? Aye. You're all set, Adam. Good luck.
Thank you all.
okay?
Good luck.
Have a nice evening.
English. All right, agenda item number 6, hearing regarding the request of the New Quincy Lodge LLC for a lodging house license at 4951 Home Street. Proposed manager Julia Wong, represented by attorney Jack Milgram.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Attorney Jack P. Milgram. I represent the applicant, Julia Wong. My client has before the board this afternoon an application for room house license for 4951 Home Street in the city of Quincy. As the board may be aware, my client has owned and operated rooming houses in the city of Quincy for approximately 5 years. In March of 2013, my client purchased 67-69 Revere Road in Quincy and Quincy Center. In September of 2015, my client purchased 124 Marymount Road, also in Quincy Center. She operates under New Quincy Lodge LLC and New Quincy Lodge 2 LLC. It's my understanding that since my client has acquired these properties, that she really hasn't had any problems with the city. It's my understanding that they've always passed the annual inspection. I'm not aware of any serious issues in regards to either of the properties. This property is going to be similar in size. The other 2 properties that she already owns, my client lives in Newton, Mass, and she compensates for that. She has a manager that lives in the city of Quincy that takes care of the 2 properties that she currently has, and that manager will be responsible to take care of this new property as well. We'd ask that you look favorably at my client's application.
Okay, this is again on Home Street. It has 14 rooms in the
Correct.
building, yep. And there is off-street parking in the rear of the property.
This is
It's an-
Julia Wong.
Yep, it's an existing rooming house.
That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah, that's correct.
We have it here in our files and everything else. Yep, and it's all current. Again, building department was there, my office has signed off. We have the emergency contact forms. Workman's comp, everything. That actually, the other forms are not there. Everything else is in order. Again, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll close.
My department hasn't had any issues with this property. As you know, we inspect them yearly. We'll be due to inspect again in March, so we'll be back through, and hopefully everything remains in good shape.
Thank you.
Again, she also does operate 2 other rooming houses in the city. We have no issues. They all go through the same inspection that every other one does. Annual inspections by the building, fire, and health every spring, and we get signed off, so we don't see why we'll have any other issues with this.
How many lodgers?
How many
How many,
houses?
how many
How many-
people?
No, how many people are currently living there?
Lodgers, yeah.
In here is
How many-
14.
14?
14 rooms, 14 people.
There's 14 rooms, 14 people.
Yes,
So 1 person, 2 room, correct?
yes.
1 person, 2
I
room.
still have a couple of amenities.
If you're looking for a place, Jay, just come by, please.
I'm all set.
I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of New Quincy Lodge LLC for lodging house license for 4951 Home Street due to a transfer in ownership. Current owner DIG1 LLC. Proposed manager is Julia Wong, represented by Jack P. Milgram, attorney.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the New Quincy Lodge LLC for a lodging house license for 4951 Home Street. Proposed manager Julia Wong, represented by attorney Jack Milgram. It's 14 rooms, and it passes annual inspection. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Nice to see everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Agenda item number 7, hearing regarding the request of Table and Vine, Inc., Big Y, 475 Hancock Street, for a change in manager.
Nice to see you.
From Catherine Chapman to Robert Masilli?
Mashuli.
Mashuli, pretty close. And you are Robert Mashuli.
I am.
You're gonna be the new manager.
I am.
And this is because of the beer and wine. We have all of the information that you had to go on the ABCC and fill out all by yourself, which is new, so it's nice for Susan, you didn't have to go through what Cindy went through for years. Everything is in order, we have the application. Do you have any experience with?
I was in that building with the end of it for 5.5 years.
Okay, so you know beer and wine and everything else, so that's even better. Anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none. Board members? Chief Aaron.
Mr. Chairman, we were looking for a sprinkler report, and you have those as well?
Sprinkler and,
Okay, good.
Is this a separate ownership inside the Big Y? How does that work?
Well, Big White Foods wholly owns Table and Vine Inc.
Oh,
And Table and Vine holds a liquor license. It's sort of a different division of Big White.
I'm all set. If board members are all set, looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the Table and Vine Inc., known as Big Y, 475 Hancock Street, for a change in manager from Kathleen Chapman to Robert Mashuli, represented by Mr. Robert.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Table and Vine Inc., Big Y, 475 Hancock Street, for a change in manager from Kathy Chapman to Robert Mashuli. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set. Thank you very much, guys. Agenda item number 8, hearing regarding the request of the Poor Yard, 210 Washington Street, for extension of premise to use the patio on 3 dates. Do we have one correct? It's actually 4 dates. It is Thanksgiving morning, December 2nd, December 14th, and March 17th, right?
Correct. Obviously, weather permitting.
Weather permitting. That is the first part of your
Correct.
application.
Right.
And then we'll take the,
Sure.
review the patio conditions on the second half.
Sure.
What's December 2nd?
We're having we do the Toys for Tots collections, so we're having 2 events, one on the 2nd and one on the 14th
Oh, they're both
of
Toys for
December.
Tots.
They're both Toys for Tots. The 2nd is partnered with Quincy Fire, the fire guys, and then the 14th is the one with the Marines. The 2nd should be during the day though, it'll be a daytime, afternoon thing, so not into the evening at all. And
And
again, weather, if it's correct, if
Right.
it's not nice out
It's
there.
not nice,
forget
it's not nice. What are the hours that you're looking for outdoors?
On the 2nd, it would be the daytime, and on the other events, Thanksgiving is a morning, so that would just be the AM,
Yeah.
probably till, 1 or 2 o'clock. The 14th is an evening event, so I would probably stick with our regular operating hours, and the 17th would probably be the same thing, stick to regular operating hours. Again, it depends on what the weather's doing. And the 17th is with the MS Society, that's a walk we host for them that day.
What time you start on Thanksgiving morning?
Probably 9, between 8:30 and 9. And again, I think last year, the weather was not great, so we just kind of let it slide. We stayed open for a little bit and then just said everybody can move inside. It wasn't really worth it. Weather's funny these days. 70 one day, 40 the next.
What are the hours of liquor? Can you serve?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, 8 AM.
8 a.m., okay.
Thanksgiving morning, yeah, normal hours.
I think it's the only day of the year we actually use that
Yeah.
early portion of it.
Yeah, it is. So, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns concerning the 4 dates that we're looking to extend the? Come right up, sir. Just state your name for the record.
My name is Paul Chinette, and most of you know that I ran a plumbing company in the city for 40 plus years, and I ran a real estate company for pretty much the same amount of time. I'd like to hand out some pictures just to give an example of what my tenant is subjected to. Sorry.
That's okay.
I have more pictures. I was going to hand out other stuff too.
We were just passing them, Paul, so.
Sure, yeah, there's an extra one. I can see that. Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
So you're probably going to hear today how Mr. DeBona is charitable and caring and so forth from the councilor here. Glad that Toys and Tots are being served. I'm all for it. I applaud that, but make no mistakes. Mr. DeBona's deeds are driven by greed. He is not allowed by law to give away free alcohol. I'm willing to bet he has very profitable nights during these fundraisers, and his deeds don't match his words. And by that, I like to say that we had to sit down with Mr. DeBona to move the fences. We asked him to move the fence. We asked him to eliminate the swaying lights that are very bothersome to my tenants. They cut the hours back so the tenants can get some to bed at a reasonable hour. His answer was the fence would cost too much. No response on the lights, and offered to cut back the hours to 10 o'clock on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, of which everybody here knows that's downtime. There's no business on those nights. On last June 26th, we were notified by the city that, the zoning board didn't answer our request for some action. We went to the licensing board. My tenant spoke of how she's in fear of herself in that place, how she's afraid that somebody's going to climb into her windows. She did an eloquent job of explaining it to the,
So can I,
of getting to it.
At the licensing board?
but this is for the extension of premises.
Right,
that
this,
we're talking about.
if you bear with me just
Okay.
a moment, I will try to tie this in for you. So in the evening of the soft opening that Mr. DeBona had at the Poyard, my tenant Marina Salinas called the police about 10 p.m. and complained she could not sleep as a result of the noise and the lights deflecting, swaying through the windows. It wasn't a soft opening. That was what he had asked for, a soft opening. As a result, the police visited, they were told, and they told Mr. DeBona, you shut the place down, and they did shut the place down at 10 o'clock. Approximately a month later, Mrs. Salinas was forced to call the police again. Music was blaring. The noise was unbearable. There was even a woman on top of the roof taking video pictures. She sent me a copy of that the following day. Mr. DeBona was ordered to stop the music and drop the noise level, which he did. On November 8th, I received a call that the Poyard was having an event, and the lights were on. When I spoke to my tenant, Marina, she said that the lights had been left on most evenings till 1 o'clock in the morning. I called the police station, asked for some help with the swaying lights, etc., and Lieutenant Trowski did respond, and went to the manager of the Poyard. And the manager of the Poyard said that sometimes the cleaning crews come in late at night at 12 o'clock. And that the smokers will not be allowed to use the Poyard. They have to use the sidewalk out front. He also mentioned that he spoke with Mr. Duker and with you, Mr. Shealy, and they had permission to leave the lights on. It's my understanding that after Columbus Day, they're not allowed to use that Poyard. So I think there's, I need
They're not allowed to use the Poyard for
Yeah.
alcohol. They can go out there and smoke.
And the lights can stay on?
Yeah,
because that's the real bothersome part to me and my tenants.
I mean, I'm sure we might be able to work something out where we can do something.
If you look at these pictures, you'll see that
Yeah,
there's a peeper. She opened her window, and this guy was staring in the window for quite some time, and even waved to her. Would you allow your daughters to live in a circumstance like that? I certainly wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't be happy with it. And she did, as I said, an eloquent job of stating her thoughts to the licensing board on this. It's on YouTube. It's a matter of record.
she never came before us,
No, she didn't.
so it's
It's
not.
usually reluctant
So
people come.
she never came before us or spoke to us?
No, but my point is she did speak to the police on
Okay.
two different occasions and asked me to speak to the police on the third occasion. So this is not, by any means, the venue, in my opinion, for what's going on over here. See, you can see the lights on those pictures, how they bounce. They bounce inside her bedroom window. And it was my understanding in the letter that we got back on.
So,
June 20th.
so that would come under review conditions of the patio, I think, not so much for the extension of premise that we're talking about here.
Well, he's trying to extend this, and he's going to affect their lives. When he has the lights on at night in the middle of the winter, it's affecting.
So
It's
is it
affecting
okay-
constantly, so it is, in my opinion,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong. This does have a cause and effect. Everything has a cause and effect, and this affects my tenants. I have another tenant that's been very, very upset over this, and wanted to take matters into his own hands. He's not better, and I spoke to him, but it's not comfortable for these people. I put a light out there, shooting down from my property, so that the tenants coming and going at least have, their vision is increased, because that's a dead spot. That's an area where, you know, a woman coming home late at night in an alleyway like that, that's been created by this fence, and that was one of our objections to this fence being where it is. But you're going to extend him more time. I'm not a criminal. I've been operating a business in the city for 41 years. I bought a company that was in this city for 49 years. That's 90 years I've been operating, you know, the business has been operating, so to speak. And I don't know why when I just ask for a little something like this, I assume it's probably going to get granted anyways, but you're seeing this is probably the last time I'm going to be here in front of this board. But all I can do is ask you to do the right thing. I don't know anyone that would want their own kids, daughters, whatever, living under these conditions. And to keep granting him whatever he wants, this guy has just got every single thing he wants. I know there was a letter that went out discussing the fence and other things. It hasn't been enforced. That's all I can tell you.
Let me ask you the question, what's that got to do with the 3 or 4 dates that he's looking for?
It's
They're
more-
during the day,
It's more an intrusion on my tenants' lives. In the middle of the winter, this was supposed to be closed on Columbus Day.
I get that.
Yeah. So it's.
I have less hiccups with a place that stays open. I know we licensed them from, what was it, Patriots to Columbus Day. Those are when people have their windows open, and that's when there's a lot more activity.
She's afraid
I don't
to-
see how it's gonna be any
She's
kind of
afraid to
issue
open
in
the
March.
windows right here. She's afraid to open the windows.
I mean, in the middle of
She
December.
stated that at the license board, it's on YouTube.
She was never at the licensing board.
No.
At the, I'm sorry,
So she was
I'm sorry, yeah,
okay?
I'm sorry.
I mean, this appears to me, these 4 dates, less intrusive than the other 150 that they're
Oh,
open.
obviously, yeah, but we're just giving him more and more and more. We just seem to be giving this guy whatever he wants, and, you know, it's driven by
As
greed.
far as the lights go, what time do they shut them down or shut them on?
She has told me that they usually close down at 1 AM. The law, the way that we wrote it up last year, it was supposed to be 11. 1 AM is common with her.
That I have a little more trouble with,
Mhm.
you know, and if I'm looking at the lights here, from the pictures that you provided, I don't know what time of day this was taken, but, you
It
know,
was early evening.
so there's no issue with that. You know, I
At that
think I
point
would
in time,
have a
at that
little bit of
particular
hiccup, but
moment-
we can have a discussion offline.
At that particular
after.
moment there is, but I did bring forth last year and showed you how the lights do affect. I did bring in the light pictures of the lights the first night it was open. And it's intrusive, and the lights sway back and forth, so she's trying to get some sleep, and she's getting a light show in her bedroom window, in her kitchen, and the people upstairs the same way. It's intrusive.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead.
May we ask Lieutenant Turowski to come up to the podium? Could you please talk about the police calls and record that you have
Right,
had the incidents?
yeah, I have no complaints from anyone. I told Mr. Schnett when I spoke to him on the phone the other night, I said, I have received no complaints from any of his tenants. And I go through the journal every day when I come to work. I found no calls from his tenants. The only call that was placed was when he had his soft opening the very first night. Mr. DeBorn actually hired a detail, and I stopped by, and the officer said, yeah, we had a complaint about the noise, and we believe it came from the house across the street. He goes, I went over there, knocked on the door, and nobody answered the door. The house was in darkness. So that was the only call I'm aware of that they've had to that establishment. And actually, right around the time he was getting ready to open, Mr. Schnett had complained to me about the lights. And I had gone down and spoke to Mark about it, and I said, you know, if the place isn't being used, can you turn the lights off, you know, early? And he did so. So, I mean, I think Mark's amendable to, if the patio's not being used, shutting the lights off. I know he did say that around midnight, when his guys take the trash out, they throw the lights on just so we can see going down to where the barrels are. But I've had no complaints.
Thank you.
Okay?
Anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. DeBona, can we ask you a couple of
Sure,
questions?
ask anything like that.
You've
Just
heard
don't
what
want
Mr.
to drag down
Schnett
your
said
time.
about the, yeah, I don't have a hiccup with the dates,
Okay.
but I have no issue with the dates.
Sure.
But as far as the lights go,
Sure.
is there a way to mediate this so that we
Put 'em
can
on a
appease the
dimmer?
neighbors?
Well-
or- I mean, I've seen you set up, I've never been in there.
Sure.
I've been in the other side, but I've never been in the courtyard per se. Is there a way, once the patio closes at 11 o'clock, I know people use it to smoke and they need a little bit of light, but I mean, if these lights are going on like this, I don't know if you've seen the picture, but I think it's an accurate portrayal. If those lights are on, you know, at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, that would be an issue. Is there a way to dim those
Sure.
lights and still make it safe for your patrons to go out there and,
We don't actually allow smoking on the patio at all.
okay. So after 11, would there be any need
After
to have
11
those
o'clock,
lights on?
it's completely shut down, with the exception of my employees taking the trash out. Now, my staff's been informed to turn the lights out at 11 o'clock when everything's shut down and everybody's inside. That's all I can tell you. He can say whatever he wants, it doesn't make it the truth. As far as the girl being on the roof, she was taking photographs for our website. A professional photographer was hired to do a shoot that night and needed some daytime pictures and some nighttime pictures. And she said, can I go up on the roof and take some pictures? I said, sure. If you look at our website, you'll see the pictures that she took.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I try not to drag all this nonsense, but as far as, you know, things that he wants to say, you can say whatever you want, doesn't make it true. I did offer to put a gate where he put a light on to make the fence safer for his tenants. He said no. I offered to raise the fence, which Jay Duker and I and Drew have talked about, to give his tenants more privacy, to cover up those windows. He said no. You know, there's been a finding in place to change some things around.
This isn't true. He never offered to put a gate in. This is what I say. His deeds don't.
So
It's right
does
there.
the office still stand
Sure.
right now?
Absolutely.
So the office stands right now?
Mhm.
Is that good for you?
I'll have to talk about it.
Let me ask you a
There's other
question.
issues.
I
There's a
did
lot of
that.
issues here. There's a lot of
Do you have a
So,
dimmer, do you have a dimmer on those lights right now?
I don't think they're actually dimmable.
I just want to, I've been there and at night, and
I
I
think most of
actually
you have
met
been there
over there,
day or
and
night.
I found those to be very dim. They were really very low lighting, and I'm wondering, you know, I'm not trying to minimize the problem here, but,
Sure.
you know, some of these cameras will accent the light because of the low lighting effect
I
that the camera has. But
Most of
I've
you have
been
been
there, and
by.
I think the street lights are probably brighter than the lights that I was there. But having said that,
Sure.
there's no reason why we can't shut them off.
I agree.
At a certain time.
Sure.
You have the patio till 11,
During, on season, yes.
and then you can, the agreement was you could have people smoke out there?
We don't let them go outside and smoke, though. I don't
All
want
patios.
smoking in that. It is allowed, but we don't, I personally don't allow it.
What about the music? That kind of concerns me.
The only
Well-
thing that's out there is a,
But that's for the conditions
No, well-
of the patio. I'd rather just get the 4 dates that he's applied for the extension,
Well,
either yes or
I
no.
think the police, he's saying that there's a police report that there was music blaring, and that goes to how he's using the patio.
I mean, ask Lieutenant Jarowski. We speak all the time. I spoke with him Wednesday night about everything going on.
I haven't seen any police reports regarding
Okay.
Or any calls. I mean,
lights or
just, he
anything.
can say what he wants, doesn't make it true.
And then the other question, I'll go back to
Sure.
Drew's original question, maybe Attorney McRitchie can answer it. I know Mark has offered to put a decorative screening above the fence, which would mitigate this picture to the window. I don't know how you feel about that, if you want to comment or not comment, but that offer is before me, and I'm going to answer it at some point.
I'd rather wait and talk about when you're talking about the conditions of the patio.
We could do that.
But the conditions that you set 6 months ago haven't been complied with. So.
We actually have modified that agreement because of the history. We met over there with the board counselor, myself, who else was there?
Chris Walker.
Were you not?
Was
Attorney.
No.
But I did go there at night,
Chris
the
Walker.
lights are very low, it's very low lighting.
They blow in the wind. They
They've
really
taken
do.
away,
They really do blow in the wind. I've been in the apartment. I go on a
Well,
field
I'm
trip.
not gonna
Go over and
disagree.
take a look, yeah.
I'm not gonna disagree with that, but I think we'll just go back to voting on what's before us. Thank you.
Could I make one more comment?
Sure, come on up.
So the issue here with me is the lights and the disturbance of my tenants. He owns Cagney's, so he can do these fundraisers at Cagney's. It seems to me that should be sufficient. Why give him the courtyard when previously it states that it will be closed from Columbus to, why give it to him when he's got the place, he's got the venue for it already? And why subject my tenants to this? It's not necessary. It's only a few nights, I realize that, but a few nights lead to more nights. Now we're into March, right? Lead to more nights and more lights and more nights. So why don't we nip this on the butt and let him do it? Okay, that's all I ask.
Can I
Yeah, come on up.
expand? Let me if I can expand on that. The courtyard has a capacity of 24 seats inside. With Mr. Duca's, the zoning administrator's finding from June, the outside has been reduced to 40 seats. So the courtyard has a capacity, including the outside, 64 seats. Cagney's has a seating capacity of 100. If he's running a fundraiser, wouldn't it be more practical to have
But
it
it's
in the
not
larger
our,
restaurant?
it's not our place to tell him where to hold the fundraiser.
No, I
He
guess
has two
it's not,
licensed
I guess it's not,
establishments. He
but
can-
he's asking you to make an exception of the licensing board's provisions that the outside decks would be, outside patios would be limited to April through October. He wants to have one in December. He wants to have one on Thanksgiving morning at 8:30 in the morning, so everyone can get liquored up before they go to the football game. I don't know that that's really such a good idea. Yeah, if you want to approve it. But it certainly doesn't sound like somebody who's looking to cooperate with his
By him offering to put additional screening up to stop one of the primary complaints that Mr. Chanet's complaining
Well,
about.
the building commissioner ordered a 3-foot
Then-
buffer zone to be put in,
then-
it hasn't been put in.
You know, so.
We'll get to that when we
There's
talk about the
54 seats
conditions.
there now, too.
Anybody else have any other comments, questions, concerns? Councilor Flowers. This is for the 4 days we're
Got
talking
it.
about.
So I think what's really important is the corporate culture and the charitable contributions that Cagney's and their patrons in the courtyard contribute to our community. The Toys for Tots event that is before you, I've attended each year, and it's one of the biggest toy collection drives in the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The work that's being done, I think what we're talking about is this is a business district. This is an opportunity. We've had an enjoyable season. I've been there many times. I've never heard loud music. In fact, we had one night, we had somebody one man with a guitar that couldn't even hear him without any amplification. The street lights and the sirens are louder in the conversation. We're not violating the noise ordinance. The lights, Mr. Duker and I have spent many conversations with many homeowners about someone gets a floodlight and lights up their neighbors, and that violates the building ordinances. These lights are in compliance. I think what's important to recognize is what's in compliance. What are the contributions to our economy? What are the meals tax that have been generated from this business this summer that have supported our city? What are the increased employment that is committed to the city? These are great events. Quincy needs fun things to do. Arts and culture are important to our community. I wholeheartedly support his application. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I'll ask Mr. Bona to come back up, and I'm going to ask one final call. Anybody else in the audience have any comments, questions? Okay. Board members, this is an application that is before us for 4 dates to extend the premise, the use of the patio. We're looking at Thanksgiving morning, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are looking at December 2nd, 14th, and then March 17th, normal hours, which are 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., weather permitting. And that is what is before us. I did say March 17th, yes. Looking for a motion or any other discussion on what we're doing?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the Poor Yard, 210 Washington Street, for 4 days extension of premises, one on Thanksgiving morning from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., one on December 2nd. We are partnering with the Quincy Fire Department for Toys for Tots event. One day for December 14th for Toys for Tots, partnering with the Marines. A day in March 17th for an MS walk.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Poor Yard, 210 Washington Street, for extension of premise to use the patio on 4 dates. Thanksgiving morning, 11/23, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. December 2nd, December 2nd and December 14th, 2017, and March 17th, 2018, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on those last 3 dates, the 2nd, the 14th of December, and March 17th of 2018. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That's granted 5-0. And then we are here, it's kind of like an 8B, here regarding the request of the Poor Yard to review patio conditions. So, okay. So, this is Mark DeBona, again, before us, and we are here to review patio conditions. I want to make sure I get this right. Currently, the conditions are 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. No amplified music.
Background music.
No just background music. No amplified music from no live bands or anything else, and also no TV or anything out there. And that's basically what we have across the board.
Correct.
For all of the, well, just about 95% of the patios that are out there. So why don't you tell us what you're looking to do out there?
So we've had one very successful season outside of the Poor Yard, inside and outside. Lieutenant Turovsky has told you we've had 0 complaints, 0 issues. Again, I just don't think they exist. Business has been good. We had hired 20 people work the season, 20 extra jobs, had a good season. Like Councilor Forrest said, increased our tax base, payroll, more money into the city, had some good events. I think most of you have come by at one time or another and seen the space. I know a lot of your guys have come through and seen the space and we've done some stuff with them. We'd like to just prepare for next season. So one of the things we'd like to do is put a couple of TVs outside. You know, you guys can discuss what you want about hours of lights, things like that. So there's some background when there's a game or something on. Just add a little more environment outside. And then to discuss the possibility about doing some acoustic music with limited hours. I think there's other places within the city that outdoor space that have some TVs and do a little bit of entertainment and type stuff.
So,
What other places have TVs?
I believe there's some down in the marina that have them. Cronin's has them outside.
no volume.
Common Market.
Common Market has them outside. There's definitely, starting,
There's-
as the city's growing,
Fowler House has one, Common Market has one, but there's no volume on them.
I'm glad you're having a successful year. I
it's
just,
been interesting.
I'm not really open to the TV. I just see having games and, you hit a home run and I just see the crowd reacting. And I think that might be over the top on this particular.
Even if we
occasion.
said no volume, just
Well, I think if you're still
background.
watching the game, you see a home run and whether you have, words at the bottom of the screen. That's just me, I'm just speaking for myself. really concerned about that, but I'm glad you're having a successful year
So
with
far, so
everything.
good.
I don't know that we need to add more, or, you know, if that, it sounds great, but I don't think,
Well, we're just thinking ahead into next season, stuff that, you know, after 1 year open, you get a lot of feedback from the neighborhood, the customers, people that come in and come out about, oh, this is great, you know, it'd be great if we could have some TV on or some sports on or something, just to add a little more atmosphere to it. You know, they go to other places and can sit inside or outside and enjoy watching a game, even if there's volumeless, you can still see what's going on while you're having a conversation. So I'm not sure, you know, I'm not convinced it would add a lot of extra excitement or noise to it. I think it kind of just becomes a little bit of background.
I'm just speaking for
Yeah,
myself.
I appreciate it. You know, I'm super wide open to talk about everything. We're trying to plan for next season, so I figured I'd ask. That's what we're here for, right?
Thank you. I have to agree with Mr. Joker. I listened to Mr. Shinnett at many of these meetings. I think he has legitimate concerns. He does have the tenants. I think it's unfortunate that it seems like on other properties when we have these issues, they're able to somehow find some common ground and appease their closest. We've had the same issues down in House Neck and various others. And they seem to be able to find some common ground.
Sure.
It just doesn't seem to be happening now. And so to extend it any further, I would not be able to support it.
I mean, with all due respect, again, you can ask Lieutenant Gross, we've had zero issues because somebody said something's true doesn't necessarily make it true. His tenants have been on my patio and enjoyed it and had dinner there many times. So if he asks his tenants why they're complaining, they shouldn't be out having dinner and drinks.
Well,
If it's that much of a burden in the neighborhood, I would think that their complaints would be like, well, I don't want to go down there,
well,
but they are there.
I think there's many ways to, when you run a business, to acknowledge the issues from your closest.
I agree.
And
I've tried everything to be a good
Well,
neighbor.
then perhaps if those people were here and they said they didn't, that what Mr. Shinnett is hearing isn't quite true, I don't think he would be here if there wasn't something going on.
I guess.
So I'm sorry, but that
That's
would
okay.
be my position.
That's okay.
I know you do a lot of very good things,
Thank you.
and I applaud them,
Yeah.
but I have to,
We are in a
So-
commercial area though as well. It's a commercially zoned area, so its primary use is for business and, provide jobs and things like that within the area.
understand.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I do find it odd. I've never heard from a complaint from the tenant, ever called
Thank
my
you.
office either.
Thank you.
I am a little concerned, the windows right there, I mean, we do have buildings that are close to each other all over the city. It would seem logical to put some kind of a buffer on top of the fence. And I know you've been wanting to do that from day one. So I don't know if the council, if you want to comment on that. I mean, I'm open to that idea. I think it's a good idea.
Can I address?
May I?
Yeah, but before you just counsel, I would, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Listening to all that's been happening since the beginning, I would like to grant you your time on the patio and your TVs, but under the circumstances that Jay is talking about, put that buffer up and see if, even if those lights aren't the lights that you keep permanently, but maybe perhaps a dimmer, if in fact it's that's causing the issue with the tenant. I think that something can be worked out here, and I think it'll be good for everybody. Paul, the little easement into the back, maybe the light would help, so that the girl doesn't feel like she's walking into a dark alley, and so if he's offered some kind of light there to guide her in, that's a nice.
So, do you ever sit in a group of people, 15 people, 20 people, watching golf? Somebody gets a hole-in-one, crowd goes crazy. You're gonna put there's supposed to be 40 seats, I guess, so that's the last judgment. Go down now, you'll count 54 seats in there. If you go down today, drive right now, you'll count 54 seats. So, but you got 50 people in a closed alcove area like that, surrounded by a building. My building was there before he turned his driveway into a foyer. So you get 40 people in there, whether it be a football game, basketball game. This was his intention in the beginning, to put a sports bar. If you go back to our original meeting here, he said that's what he was gonna do, and then he caught himself and turned it around and said, whoa, 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 that was his original intention, this is his original intention, to put a sports bar in. It doesn't belong 5 feet away from the building. My building was there before me, tenants were there before. So it's an interruption on my livelihood. This is my retirement policy right here. That's why I bought these properties in Quincy, all in Quincy, is to enhance that's why I worked 41 years, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So for this guy to come in and put 50 seats in there and then say he's gonna put sports games on, there isn't a person in here that doesn't watch a game and when there's a touchdown and scream and yell. You're gonna have 40, 50 people there screaming and yelling on Monday Night Football till what, 11 o'clock at night? That's all I can say. I mean, I've said most everything I can say. It's just not the right venue for it. These other places, Louis, down in House next to you, Louis in House Neck, it's 100 feet away. Fowler House, look how far that is from the building, the closest about it. This is an unusual circumstance here. I applaud Marina Bay. I applaud Inner Bayport. I go there quite often. And I know that, what's the place down the end in Quincy Point, the Maddie's or whatever it is, they were refused outside seating to increase their outside seating because they didn't have the inside seating to cover it. So there's two standards here too, in addition to, you know, and as far as me making up a story, my tenant called me and told me, and she was in front of the board, the licensing board. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, I'm sorry, I apologize. But there is a report there. I think if it's checked out, the police did respond. I hope there's a report on it because they did respond. And they shut them down that night. And the second night when I have pictures of her on the roof, she sent to me. And she did call that night. Now, whether or not she called the building department, I don't think she knows enough to call the building department. And I've been away for probably the last 5 weeks, with the exception of 1 week. So I'm not on top of what's going on there every day. These people contact me if there is an issue. I don't make these issues up. I'm not inciting these people to do these things. And you know my opinion anyways. It's not the venue to put 50 people outside under the windows. People across the street came to the meeting, at the other meeting, and complained about noise levels. I'm not the only one. There was quite a bit of traffic on our last meeting in front of the zoning board. So I request that you at least think about the results of what you're doing tonight. It's not a light thing that doesn't affect people. It affects everybody in the neighborhood. There's a lot of neighbors in that neighborhood. Down the street, every single house in that street is 4 families. I had people come up to me and thank me for at least approaching this situation. There was quite a few Chinese people that didn't want to get up because they couldn't speak the language. But a lot of people applauded me. I walked door to door to talk to people out there.
Nicole, to answer your question, again, just because somebody says something doesn't make it true. I think, like you said, most of you have been down and visited. I've been itching to make the fence a little bit higher to give everybody more privacy from day one. I think Mr. Duca knows that. So you say go, I'll have my guys out there, next week raising that fence, making it much more private, much more secure, eliminating the light problem. It would help with any type of noise and buffering. It's a win all the way around, which is why I was confused as to why my neighbor wasn't agreeable to it. It seems like a perfect solution to a lot of problems. It would help with lighting, it would help with noise, it would help with everything. And it would, keep that space a little bit more confined as well.
I don't know the landscape down there, but is there enough room against that fence to put in natural barriers, shrubbery, that type of thing? If you put, some kind of tall bushes or something that...
It would have to be 12, 15 feet tall to get past it. That's why I met with Mr. Duker a few times about...
Is there, but from where your deck or the concrete ends to where the...
No, there's not a natural area where you could possibly landscape. That's why we had discussed with Chris Walker from the mayor's office and Mr. Duca and Councilor Forrest about raising the fence the extra 3 feet to give that privacy all the way around and making it very nice. I sent Mr. Duca some images of the type of fence that we were looking at that would be solid, be great as a noise barrier, sound barrier, light barrier, the whole 9 yards. I'd love to do it. Anything I say, I think you all know me well enough. I've been in business in the city for 27 years and done a lot of good things. Anything I say I'm going to do, I stick to my word. And anything you ask me to do, I've always complied and said whatever whatever I can do, I think Mr. Duker and Drew know me, and Nicole know me well enough. I'm willing to work with
So I
them.
think the city encourages these type of venues, and that's why we approve them. I think the problem here is trying to mitigate any problems, or alleged problems, or however you want to say it, that the neighbor may have. And part of that is noise and making the fence higher, and
So can I, Paul, is there anything Mark can do short of just closing down the outdoor patio that would make you happy?
Close it down at bedtime.
11 o'clock is
Have-
bedtime.
No, 9 o'clock, you know, us older people, we go to bed early.
Wow.
No, people have to get up,
You're a
some people.
school-age kid in that apartment.
We had two people who lived across the street on, Connors was their name, who came to the meeting and said, my husband has to get up to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, extending the fence is gonna make it more of a projectile. It's gonna ricochet the noise. It's in an alcove now. It's not the best spot for it. And it's gonna throw the noise all over the place. It's not gonna quiet the noise. It might quiet the light, but it's not gonna quiet the noise.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Shonette. Is there any room on your side of the property behind the fence where there's a place where you could do plantings or something like that?
No, he put the fence
Right on the property?
right on the edge.
What about on your side of the property? Is
On my
between
side,
the
there's
fence and your house?
Just enough room for a walkway. Yeah, and it's squeezed right up against the side. There's no serviceable area around the fence when he put the fence up. He talks about being a good neighbor. He told me he was gonna redo his patio. He never told me he was putting this in. But we don't wanna get into that, I'm sorry.
No, I was just
I
looking for
digress.
another solution. I know fences are one thing, and I kind of do agree that it would ricochet.
If he pushes
To a
that fence
point,
back
but-
and puts some plantings in, pushes it and closes down at a decent hour, you know, I always said from day one, it'd be a nice ice cream place, that people, families would go and have ice cream at night or whatever. But it's not a place for 40 drunks to be hooting and hollering up at the tenants and looking in the windows and things like that. It's not the venue for it, it's too close to people that, so from my opinion, no, I think putting the fence up higher, and I might not be 100% on this, but it's gonna make the noise louder. And one of the complaints across the street was, they get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Connors, and they go to work, and have to get to bed at night. So this, closing it down at 11 is not appropriate for families. There's children that live upstairs that go to school every day. There's two young children.
Again, just because somebody says something, it's just so not true. This is just like blatant lies being presented to you.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah, let's not get into
I'm
that.
sorry.
I'm gonna tap in.
All right,
Tap in.
step back.
So, one of the things as we license permit these patios, every single one I've done, Louis, Razafa, Grumpy's, Port-Yard, up front, neighborhood meeting. The world, the sky's gonna fall. It's gonna be noisy. Every single one of them, those are the complaints we heard. I have not received one noise complaint on any of those patios I referenced. Have any of you? Not one. 4 different locations. Louis was referenced. The parcel immediately adjacent is a single-family residence A zone. Diagonally across the street, single-family residence A zone. Diagonally across the street, single-family residence A zone. I know those neighbors very well. I attend the events at that restaurant as well, and we have not seen these complaints. I think what we need to do is you can't make everybody happy, and in the leadership roles that you all serve in, you have to make decisions. This is a business district. That's the primary use. The secondary use is the residential use, the residential units. Mark himself has students. This is a great amenity for our community. When you look at, is Quincy ever going to be fun if we just roll, there's certain communities, roll the bars up at 6 o'clock, it's quiet time, go home, or what is the future for the city of Quincy if everything is, oh, it might bother somebody. At some point you have to make some decisions. I think that Mark has made a great investment. I've heard from the neighbors, I've heard from the patrons, I've heard, I'm pretty in touch with that community, and I have not had one complaint. And other than that, personally, I see this as a great amenity. You know, particularly, I referenced earlier, the outdoor music. I went there the night they test drove it, had someone play with a guitar, no amplified music. I'd like you all to sit there and be there in an evening, because the traffic of the ambient noise, even if there was a one-man acoustic with an amp, you're not going to exceed the noise ordinance. Understand what the threshold is and what's allowable. At game day TV, I'm going to keep glancing up at the Sox game, what's the score? Glancing up at the game. This isn't a sports bar, you're not going there to watch the game. It's a secondary. I don't see it to be a detriment to this neighborhood. I see it to be a great amenity for our business community. Like I said, what's the positives? Do these negatives of saying, we have a tenant who's not before you today, saying there's complaints. We have the police chief, we have the liquor inspector saying we reviewed the records, doing our homework for this meeting, not seeing that on record. We had agreed it was a great, successful season. I think this is an opportunity for the city to have outdoor live music. I know as, myself as a customer, representing the neighborhood, it's an enjoyable place for a night out. I don't see hooting and hollering drunks. I don't think that that's the reputation of Cagney's in the Port Yard. So let's not mischaracterize Mr. DeBoner or his two very successful businesses in our community. This is an opportunity to make a decision of what we want. What do we want? As we revitalize downtown, we're going to tell everyone roll the bars up at 6 o'clock. We're going to tell everybody is business street, commercial corridor locations that have amenities that are appropriate. I see these as appropriate, and I hope you do choose to do the same. Thank you.
Okay, Mark, why don't you come on back up?
Do you want to speak?
Anybody else wanna?
I'm going to throw a friend in the audience, if we could.
Just state your name for the record.
Yeah, sure. So Walter Hughley, 44 Marion Street, lifelong Quincy resident. I first learned about the Poor Yard over social media, and it reminded me, the concept that is, reminded me of some of the places I've been. I've traveled extensively in my career, and a lot of these sort of mixed indoor-outdoor venues create a really kind of cool and interesting vibe. So you add in some craft beer, add in some music. I thought what a great opportunity in addition to the city. I spent a lot of time there over the summer after work, on the weekends, just meeting up with coworkers, meeting up with friends in the community. Attended a few of the samplings from some of the breweries that bring by some of their beers. And I was there actually the day they had the acoustic music. Really quite enjoyable. I was one of the people who made the suggestion of potential for live music, because I think I've seen other venues in other cities that I've traveled to that had a similar sort of vibe, and it works out really well. And I'm a big proponent of live music in the city. I think we need more venues, but I mean, I think it's just a great addition. So I speak highly in favor of my experience at the Port Yard. Really good food, great selection of drinks, really nice. You can kind of hold a good conversation. I agree with the comment, I forget who made it earlier, that you can kind of hear the traffic more than anything else, because they kind of zip by on Washington Street there. So I would say that the traffic noise exceeds the noise of the venue from my experience being in there much times. So I'm just here to speak in favor of what the Port Yard's contemplating doing.
Good evening. For the record, Joseph Ritchie, I'm attorney in Quincy, and I represent Mr. Chanette. I'd just like to point out to the board, and I don't want to get too much on the zoning, but I do, just in a periphery way, have to mention it. Mr. Duca, in his capacity as the zoning administrator, entered a finding on June 13th, and it was recorded with the city clerk on June 28th. And I won't go through the decision itself, but he did set a number of conditions. One is that the occupancy should be limited to 40 patrons. Now, the licensing board approved it for 48 patrons. I think the license board, in order to comply with what Mr. Duca has entered in his capacity as the zoning administrator, ought to be reducing the number of patrons at this facility to 40 patrons to comply with that. Condition number 5 is that there be a 3-foot physical buffer zone along the residential property line consisting of a tight row of plantings or a planting area. That hasn't been complied with. Somebody suggested, gee, you put a row of plantings. He said, no, I can't do it, it's all concrete. Well, he filled in all that area and put down a concrete barrier, a concrete patio. So he made it in, if it can't be done, he made it that way. But he hasn't made any attempt to comply with that in the 6 months since that condition's been entered. Then there's also a provision about the lighting. It said there shall be no overhead party lights. Lighting shall be minimal to allow for safe passage and shall not shed light onto the neighboring properties. Now, from the very beginning, Mr. DeBona has represented, and even Councilor LaForest has represented, that the lighting would all be directed down. It wouldn't be completely surrounded, but it would be directed down towards the ground. Well, it hasn't been. It hangs, these light bulbs hang on the 10 or 15 string of lights, and they, as the wind blows, these things sway back and forth with the wind, and they stay on till, what is it, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. These lights are swinging back and forth. and you can see it from the light. Now, with all due respect, I know Mr. Duca has said that there've been some modifications to this. Well, this order in and of itself says that if anybody's aggrieved, they have to appeal it to the zoning board. There was no appeal of this. There was no appeal of this by Mr. DeBona, and he hasn't complied with it. It would seem to me that the logical thing for the licensing board to do would be to require that all these conditions be complied with before his license gets renewed next year. That's really what I'd like to say. I'd also like to point out that the original plan that was filed for Cagney's, and then it was transferred over to the Poor Yard, shows this patio extending back, and it says it's 30 feet by 40 feet, and extends to the rear of the building. Well, as it's been constructed, it's all the way back the full depth of the lot. So it's a lot bigger than 1,200 square feet. I haven't gotten up there with a tape measure, or we haven't had a meets and bounds survey done or anything, but if it extends all the way back to the back of the lot, it's a lot more than 40 feet. Now, if the board wants to limit it to the 40 feet, perhaps what they should do is go from the back of the lot, come forward 40 feet, and the patio would end probably before the windows of this, in the residence that the people are concerned about getting people looking in their windows. Perhaps the 40 feet ought to be enforced. That's what he said he was going to build. Everything he said, everyone talks about, oh, what a great neighbor he is, and he does all these things. Well, he hasn't done anything that he said he was going to do in his applications to this board. I think you ought to enforce his original plans and enforce Mr. Duca's orders. If you do that, that may not resolve the thing, but the chief asks about, well, gee, can you put in some row of plantings? No, it can't be done, can't be done. Well, then you should have appealed this order. Should have appealed the order. And if you won't do that, well, then let him bring the fence in 3 feet. That'll give a 3-foot barrier. It'll reduce the area by 3 feet, and the fence will be there. You don't need to raise the fence, let's move it back, so that you don't have people looking in the tenants' windows and waving at them and smiling at them. I can understand the tenants being upset, and I can understand Mr. Shinet being upset. So, even if there were modifications to these orders, I certainly wasn't made aware of them. I've got outstanding records for public records on these things, and I haven't had my full response yet. I've had a lot of documents prepared, and I certainly appreciate those. But I sent a follow-up over a month ago, and there's been an acknowledgement, but no more documents provided. But again, these conditions, if they were enforced, maybe there wouldn't be so many complaints now. And again, it wasn't appealed to the zoning board, and that's what the remedy would have been to Mr. DeBona. So, thank you.
Counsel, do you mind if I take a look at your map?
Pardon me?
Do you mind if I take a quick look at your map?
The sketch here?
Yeah. I know it's not just.
Yeah.
That's not official.
I'm sure it's in the file.
If I may, to the council's point, I just want to be clear about the meeting, Jay, that you referenced in your comments. And I think a little bit is cart before the horse. And Jay, I was quite surprised when you made that order without any communication to myself or Mark, because the level involved. And that was when we involved the mayor's office and said, let's all sit around the same table and let's make sure that these questions are being asked. When Mr. DeBona initially came to you and said, I'm interested in building this patio, what is the game plan? The plans were reviewed. There was never talk about shrubbery or arborvitae's, and he actually at the time went to Mr. Shinet and said, on your side of the fence, if you'd like, I can bring in stone to fill on your side just so it has a cleaner look. And these were all things that were reviewed. And so when you said add shrubbery, it's like, wait a minute, Mr. DeBona spent a lot of money with a plan with you having upfront opportunity for your input, and you never said that. So to now remove portions of the patio to then plant is a little bit disrespectful. I had called it to say, that conversation, you, Mr. Duke, as the building inspector, had the opportunity coming out of the gate, and now to come in at the back end and say a natural buffer would have been more appropriate, this is one with the fence extension. So I know there's a lot of talk about that, and we did say, I mean, there are some kind of soft plantings in pots to give it a softer look, but that was why there has not been the change in that order to say, now let's go plant shrubs. So wait a minute, we're not ripping out a patio that we just put in. So I just wanted to clear that, because we were surprised when that came through the order, and Mr. Devon, I would say, appealed that order, and you've since adjusted it with great discussion. And I think what's important here is many people come before us and you're out chasing them. Every single time we reach out, he is thorough and he's responsive. And I think a little bit on the city side of this, it's been, you know, Johnny on the spot, let's get it done. And we're saying, like, geez, we're tied up in things. So, you know, I feel like, to my knowledge, he is in compliance. The lights were reviewed, the lights were deemed in compliance. Border threshold, I really think it's important. Sit there, listen to the traffic go by, listen to your threshold of noise, understand that specific high-traffic area environment, and then particularly, you will hear umpteen times Bruce ambulance flying by because their headquarters is right there, and I hear that from the neighborhoods too. I'm not going to call the ambulance company saying, you know, tune it down, but it is loud. So I think you need to understand what is the threshold, what is the noise ordinance, what is compliance when you're talking about the impact of these amendments. If you'd like opportunity to do that and sit there even without the patio being open and hear that, and us to, you know, continue these pieces, I think I'd be open to that. But I really feel strongly that these are amenities that would be great, not just good. These would be great for Quincy. Quincy needs, you know, social atmosphere in the evenings. If not here, where? This is a commercial corridor. This is a business district. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna do one final call. For anybody in the audience have any final comments, questions? Seeing none, I'm going to close.
Do people have a copy of these directives that he's talking about? Because I have some extras.
I don't have any.
From Mr. Duke.
I don't have any.
Do you have any questions for me?
I do have some extra.
I do have
I
some.
would appreciate if you'd at least take a look at them. Because this was a directive on June 28th for him to take some moves and he didn't. So, let me just find them here. You'll be with me for a minute.
While we're waiting on that. Sure. So let me get it straight in my head. What is exactly, what are you looking for changes on your deck?
That what we're discussing today,
What are you looking for?
I'd like to put some TVs outside with hours and volume to be at your discretion. And we would like the ability to have like a one-man guitar player or a woman guitar player outside on the weekends with volume and hours at your discretion. Brian Mahoney, who I believe, I'm sure you know, Chief, played out there one day without his amp and said it was just, you know, really wasted his time.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's very good, but the street noise drowned him out totally. You know, when, like Councilor Forrest said, when the traffic noise over there was really loud. And so when, you know, a car goes by, an ambulance goes by, a motorcycle goes by, everything else is drowned out. So those are the couple things we were looking for next season to add a little more interest.
Okay, so you're looking for TVs and you're looking for a guitar player with an amp?
Correct.
Of
Like similar like Brian.
One single
Correct.
amp, one single person.
Similar to Mr. Moto.
Okay, before I go any further with that.
So I'd just like to clarify for the board and for everyone, for the, Margaret is correct. I had come out with these conditions. This is very dynamic. This was when we first started talking about it. Since then, there's been lawsuits and ZBA meetings. I have not enforced any of these. I just want to go on and say that Mark has been very cooperative. We've had further discussions. Since these conditions were met, I've not enforced many of them, and many of them he's already gotten rid of the signs and he's done some mitigation. But I just want to say that it's just been very dynamic. So this, Mark's been very cooperative, and we are where we are. He wanted to put 3 feet on top of the fence. One of the reasons I did not go along with that is because you need a special permit from the zoning board of appeal. I was afraid that if he put it up, there would be a further lawsuit that would complicate the matter. So I am okay with the 3-foot buffer. I thought it was a good idea. I'm still open to that. This is all dynamic. I've not enforced anything. So I just wanted to clarify that to the board.
Okay.
But I am still not in favor of the television. I think in close proximity of where we are, and this location is different than other locations. I just think that it'll be a problem.
Okay, so with that, I'm just gonna give you my 2 cents. I do feel for Mr. Chenette's tenants. I do agree with Councilor Forrest. It is a business district. It's a business district first. Tenants ask to live in a business district. There are certain concessions you make when you live in a business district. I lived next to a Friendly's for 5 or 6 years, and you know what? Their drive-up window was open till 11 o'clock, and I heard kids out there on Friday and Saturday nights, and it is what it is, you know? It's a business district. So with that, I would be in support of putting a TV out there, just a single TV. I wouldn't want 2 TVs. I'd be in support of a single TV out there with no volume. We do have those in a couple of other outdoor venues that we do license. Again, I think it is a secondary entertainment vehicle. It's not a sports bar. People aren't going there just to watch the game because I just don't think that's what they're there for. If they did, you're usually gonna go to a sports bar that has 27 TVs like the Fours and everything else, so, or you'd be going down to Cagney's to watch it. So with that, I don't have any issue with that. I'm not in support of just a blanket, okay, we're gonna give you a entertainment license for one person out in the patio with a amplifier. I would be more agreeable to, you know what, you pick, you know, a half a dozen dates of when you want to try to do something with a single person out there, come before us, we'll give you permission. That way we can look at it, we can see if we get any complaints, we can monitor it with the noise ordinance through the city and through inspectional services and go forward that way. That basically is what I would be looking to do. I'm not sure if you want to take a vote on both of them together or if you want to do separate. I'm open to however you want to do it. And then, but that's my 2 cents, and I'll let anybody
agree
else
with
on the
you.
board who wants to say anything.
I agree with you. I think that is, for now, until maybe perhaps we can get some issue for the buffer, you know, I think that's acceptable.
Would it be easier if we just withdrew the request for the music at this point and then just come up with a handful of dates that we can discuss at a future time?
Yeah, you can withdraw. And
That might just be
you wanna
easier for everybody, less headache.
Do you want to keep the TV? You want to
Yes,
try to
please.
go for a TV?
Yes, please.
I feel like I'm on prices right here. You want to
You
go
feel
for a
like you're
TV?
Where do we
again-
stand, the whole issue with the fence, where do we stand with the elevation of the fence?
I would love to do it. I met with Mr. Duca on site. We walked the whole property with Chris Walker from the mayor's office, with Councilor Forrest. We all looked at it, we walked around, and it would be, so that it would basically raise the fence on 2 sides, and then the third side is my building, so you actually have a really enclosed tight space. So I disagree that I think it would actually reduce any ambient noise and definitely reduce any lights. And then when you add the additional plantings in the spring and pots around the patio, I think it's gonna be much quieter, and everything will be more self-contained. It makes perfect sense when you look at the space to say, oh yeah, if we had the fence a little higher, it would totally cover his tenant's windows 100%, so there'd be no visibility on either side. And then it would also enclose the backside and protect everything a little bit, you know, nicer and neater and cleaner and quieter.
Mr. Chenette, I know it's not gonna totally appease you, or,
No, well, it's gonna block all the light of the tenants because it's so close to the property line. And again, we've
This
got
is
to.
nighttime.
Pardon me?
We're talking nighttime.
no, but doesn't it remediate some of your issues with people looking in the window? Doesn't it take care of the ambient light coming from the property onto your property? Doesn't it not resolve some of those?
Let them plant a 3-foot buffer of plantings and let them grow up, and that'll block, you know.
That would be my preference.
That was ordered as a.
Yeah, but it wasn't ordered by the licensing board, and I don't have any authority.
It was ordered by the zoning administrator, and it
That's
wasn't
the zoning
appealed.
board.
And it wasn't appealed. This is an order from the city for him to do something. He hasn't done it in 5 months.
So,
That's
And
not before the
it's-
license.
Well, let me
That's not-
ask you the question. That would be the preferred response, and just in my opinion, and I'm not a sound design person, I'm not anything more than a police chief, but that would be my preferred response to this. But if it's not going to happen, it wasn't required to happen initially, I wouldn't require this gentleman to dig up his patio to to do those plantings. That's whatever happened with the zoning board. My question though is,
It's
if we
not
would
gonna
have,
happen with the zoning.
well,
Because it wasn't appealed by him. And he was told, if you are aggrieved by this, you have the right to appeal.
I
He didn't
understand that,
appeal it.
Counselor, I
That's
understand
the
that.
order.
Within the 30
But I'm trying
And he
to,
has
I'm trying to reach a
enforced-
middle ground here. So what's the difference between that and the 3-foot fence? It's gonna cause the same issues that you say that are gonna be detrimental to Mr. Chanet's property and his tenants.
In my
It is
opinion,
gonna
it's the
solve
same.
a problem, it is gonna resolve some of the issues where people looking into that property. I think it's gonna get rid of the ambient light, and I think it's gonna deaden the noise a little bit, whether it's plantings or whether it's a fence.
With all due respect, and I'm not a botanist, but a 3-foot tight row of plantings is gonna do a lot to diminish light and noise, much more than a fence. It's right up against the property line.
Doesn't say that
So-
you have right,
So,
6 feet tall. You know,
yeah,
I mean-
so, again, that's a zoning board thing, you wanna have issue with that, go see the zoning board.
He's the one that had to go to the
Well,
zoning
then-
board, if he's agreed.
Then,
He really
then
didn't.
have him go to the
He has to
zoning
go to the
board.
zoning board before he.
Then have him go to the zoning board. We're gonna do this right here, we're gonna finish it up, and we're gonna settle it right here. So, we had the public hearing, we had everybody speak, we're ready to sit down and make a decision. So, right now, Mr. DeBona is withdrawing his application without prejudice for an entertainment, for outside entertainment, correct?
Correct.
So that is being withdrawn. The only thing he's looking for now is an outside TV. I would support that with no volume on. That is what is before us right now. And I didn't make the motion, that's what's before us. If someone wants to make a motion, they can make a motion, and we'll do a roll call vote.
I think somebody else would have to make the motion.
I'm not making a motion, I said I didn't make a motion.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for someone to make a motion.
I couldn't make the motion.
Then you don't have to. You can make a motion to deny. You can make a motion, you don't have to vote for it.
Okay.
You can vote against the motion. You can make it and vote against it.
Yeah, speak out of both sides, you know.
The motion is to just
I'd
get
have
the
to make a
vote.
motion to deny it then. So
Okay.
what is the, what is the?
Just the TV, correct?
Yep, just the
With no
TV, no
volume.
volume.
I'll help you out, Jay. I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the Poor Yard located at 210 Washington Street for an outside television with no volume.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Poor Yard, 210 Washington Street, for an outside TV with no volume. I'm going to do a roll call vote. A yes vote is in favor of the outside TV. Chief Bannon,
No.
Director Duca,
No.
Clerk Crispo,
Yes.
Chief Keenan,
Yes.
and I'm going to vote yes. So that's a 3-2 vote for it. That ends the meeting today on the Poor Yard.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you very much. So I'll get those dates to you come with the spring.
Sounds like a good idea.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, give me 2 seconds to write something down and we'll go on to the last item.
Yes. My truck's 5T.
Okay, we have just one other item on the agenda today. It is the holiday hours, and also I'm looking to do one other thing with holiday hours. I want to take a vote to extend the New Year's Eve hours to 2 a.m. We do that every single season. I don't think this year will be any different. The licensing board, we are sending out to all of our license holders the following letter. Please be advised of the following conditions approved by the City of Quincy Licensing Board on Tuesday, November 14th for 2017 holiday season. Wednesday, November 22nd, that's the day before Thanksgiving. Package stores may remain open until 11:30 p.m. Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, November 23rd, 2017. Package stores only may not sell or deliver alcoholic beverages at any time during the day. Sunday, Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2017. Package stores may remain open until 11:30 on Christmas Eve, Sunday. Monday, Christmas Day, package stores may not sell or deliver alcoholic beverages at any time during the day. Restaurants may sell may not sell alcoholic beverages or wine until after noon time on Christmas Day. Sunday, New Year's Eve, December 31st. You like this? Package stores may remain open until 11:30 p.m. Monday, New Year's Day, January 1, 2018. Package stores may sell or deliver alcoholic beverages at any time during the day. And then on New Year's Eve, I am looking for a motion to extend the hours of all pouring establishments until 2 a.m.
Motion made. Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of all pouring establishments in the city of Quincy to remain open until 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve, which would mean last call is at 1:30. Everyone, all drinks off the bar at 2, and everyone out of the building by 2:15. Did I get that right, Mr. Lieutenant Tarowski?
So 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
No.
Last call 1:30. All drinks off the bar at 2.
2:15, all drinks off the bar.
2:15, everybody out by
2:30,
2:30. Okay. Noted.
That doesn't apply to the ones that have the special conditions.
Kelly.
Yeah. No, it doesn't apply to Cali. It's Cali's 11 o'clock license.
Make that clear.
Yeah, this is Callahan's has an 11 o'clock license.
Could you repeat that?
Oh, man, this is a tough crowd today. With that, that is the last item I have on the agenda. Can I get a motion to waive the reading of the minutes?
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, gentlemen and ladies. Ladies and gentlemen.
Is that you? I was wondering.